Hello, everybody. Welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall, Episode 7, Special Interview Edition. I am Sean Cobble.
And I'm Sean Sorensen.
And we have a very, very special guest this week, Chris Ryall from IDW, the Chief Creative Officer and Editor-in-Chief. We're very, very happy to have you, Chris. Welcome.
Oh, hey, happy to be here.
So we got lots of questions, but not a whole lot of time, so we're going to try to smash a lot of stuff in here. Before we get started on questions, though, a lot of people that read comics don't know a whole lot about how comics are made and stuff like that. They pretty much think that you got a writer and an artist and they just smash it together and there you go. So could you let us know kind of what a Chief Creative Officer, Editor-in-Chief does?
Yeah, sure. I basically oversee all of our publishing. So anything that we put out as a book or a comic or anything like that, I have some hand in some way or other. You know, it's basically starts with figuring out what we want to publish, working on putting together creative teams or the deals to, get these projects done in the first place, and then sort of everything that goes together with putting out comics.
So how do you find the time to write your own books and do this? I mean, you have to work around the clock, basically.
Yeah, I've sort of given up sleep. This job takes up a lot more time than just the hours that I'm in the office anyway, so I get started early in the morning when I wake up, before I come in, and I try not to let it go too late into the night, and then into the night is when I try and get the writing done. So, like a lot of people that are writing and doing other things too, you sort of try and fill in the cracks wherever the cracks appear. So that means writing at lunch, or writing at night, or writing in my head while I'm driving home, that sort of thing. I basically never away from some form of a keyboard or a computer screen or other.
That's crazy. I don't see how you do it, man. But did you find that it inhibits you at all, like your creativeness? Do you find sometimes you just get burnt out, and you just can't do anything?
No, because I think the thing of it is that I like it. If I didn't like it and I was doing this around the clock, I think it would drive me crazy. But I'd rather do this most nights than watch, some insipid TV show or something that after the fact, why did I waste my hour on that? So since I enjoy it, I think I don't feel like it's work as much. I mean, there are times that, if I'm doing anything else, I tend to get a little bit of a guilty feeling for not, writing or doing something. But other than that, I like it, and I'm sort of past the time of going out and going to bars, and, I'm married with a kid now. So I don't, this is what I like to do with my time, so I don't feel like I'm sacrificing it by not going out and doing those things anymore.
So you're trying to fit family time in there too. That has to be just insane. I seriously can't even imagine how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've fallen into this nice thing of I try not to really write until other people go to bed. So then it's just basically my sleep I'm giving up, but I'm not giving up, time with a family or their kid or anything like that.
Well, that's good. Well, I commend you for being able to do that. I don't know if I'd be able to. Or if I did, I would probably have to sacrifice so much sleep. I really wouldn't be very pleasant to be around. But
or the thing of it is, if you do end up, spending a little bit of time on a weekend writing something, then I'll bring home my daughter, an advanced copy of My Little Pony or something like that. All right, I see why you do all this stuff.
Well, that's got to be pretty cool. You could actually bring home a physical example of what you do every day. That has to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, those kind of perks, that the stuff that she actually enjoys, I think makes it more worth, giving up a little bit of time here or there because then she gets something out of it as well.
Yeah. Well, I just read here recently the first 2 issues of the Hollows, and it's fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
I really like it. Is it just as amazing as I think it is to be able to work with an artist like Sam Keith? Like, that has to be a dream come true.
It's a weird thing for me that, a lot of times when you're doing these things, you don't pay that much attention to that fact because you're working on the story or you're chasing the pages down or, you're doing all those kinds of things. But every now and then I'll sit back, I'll get pages in, and I go, Jesus Christ, I'm getting pages from Sam Keith, that revitalized Sandman with Neil Gaiman, or the guy that did the Max, or the guy that did, just everything Sam Keith has done. I go, how's he spending his time drawing my little comic book now?
That's awesome. That's amazing. Sean?
Between that, I have this new book that I'm doing where Dave Sim is doing the covers for me, and I'm just like...
The Colonized?
Yeah, and just the fact that Dave Sim, who's the guy that did 300 issues of Cerebus, is doing covers for my book. Those are the kind of moments when you go, this is sort of amazing.
Well, and also, I mean, when I first heard of your work years ago, it was Zombies vs. Robots, and you're working with one of my favorite artists ever, Ashley Wood. You've got a pretty good track record, man. That's pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the one nice thing about the editor-in-chief spot is I'm sort of in a nice position where I can occasionally pick people or have a nice drawing pool of talent to go to anyone in this stuff.
Hey, perks are nice to have. That's awesome.
Now, a lot of people know IDW for their licensed products like G.I. Joe, Ghostbusters, Transformers, stuff like that. But one of the books you guys sell a lot of, and it's really popular, is Locke Key. And that's one of my favorite books. I know there was a rumor of it being a TV show and a pilot and anything. Do you guys have anything to do with that, or is that strictly Joe Hill's thing? Or
No, yeah, we were actively involved in that. So it actually became a pilot. Fox optioned it, and they shot a pilot a couple of years ago. And it was that close to getting on the schedule. It was a really good-looking pilot, a nice cast. It was really well done and directed by Mark Waid, and just really good top to bottom. And then for whatever reason, Fox deemed it, just not right for their fall schedule. And, I had been told that it was maybe a little too dark for their schedule. And then in the years since then, they've got this show with Kevin Bacon where it's serial killers everywhere. There's a Hannibal Lecter prequel show coming on. It's like, was our little show with scary keys and stuff not really that dark for you guys? But you never know year to year what their needs are going to be, and so just the fact that we got as far as having a good pilot shot was a pretty incredible experience. And now the property is back with us, and we can figure out other things to do with it.
yeah, they released the teaser trailer at San Diego either last year or the year before, and it looked phenomenal. It looked amazing. I don't know why Fox didn't pick it up. It would have done really well.
It really was beautifully shot. Like, it felt like an hour-long film. And like I say, you never quite know all the reasons for these things, but it certainly added to the project's exposure, and I think it brought a lot of people to the comics, that's really all I want. Like, I never bank on any of the Hollywood things ever happening, but I love the idea that Hollywood's interest in these things can bring more people to the comics, especially that one, which is far and away my favorite comic that we do.
Yeah, I work at a store in Florida, Famous Faces and Funnies, and that's our top selling IDW book behind My Little Pony now. But we sell so many graphic novels of that
Probably not to the
every
same
week.
readers, huh?
No, not exactly. Well, some of them, which is kind of weird. But
Hey, I read both last week. I read My Little Pony last week. And,
Well, yeah, and I enjoy both.
But we sell so many Locke Key consistently. One of the problems, though, is we've come across that either the first or second printing, it seems like it's out of print or out of stock. Is there any reason for that every now and then? Just low print run?
It never is. I mean, we've gone out of our way to make sure that book is well printed in every one of the volumes. So there's thousands and thousands of copies always being printed and reprinted and sent to Diamond. But I think what happens is sometimes the overlap with Diamond, getting the books, getting them back out to stores. I'm not going to blame any distributor, but I will say that at times there's lags on that end that are out of our control.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, we've taken a very big inventory position on these books to make sure that they're always around for everybody, because I think it's going to be one that just sells perennially. Like, it feels like it belongs to be on the shelves next to Sandman and Preacher and all of those kind of books that people discover year after year.
We have it right underneath Why the Last Man. It's right there.
Compliment to Joe. Like, Joe loves Brian Vaughan, and so do I. So I think being compared to a book like that is just great.
Yeah.
are there plans for a 1 or 2 volume omnibus of Locke Key when it's over with?
Well, I mean, I'm sure eventually we'll get to the point of collecting all of, by the time we get done, we'll probably have 42 or, somewhere in the mid-40s of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of, like, that big John Byrne Fantastic Four, that $100, 700 or 800 page book or whatever it is. I love the idea of a Locke Key volume like that. So
Yeah.
I think, we've pretty much put out the books already in every format we can. So I'm sure we'll end up getting to that at some point.
Yeah. We have a question from Jay Katz. I believe you've spoken to Jay a little bit. He runs InvestComics.com, one of our sponsors. And he was asking, since you guys do so many franchise books, so many other properties like that, is there a certain franchise that you would really like to have, like your dream franchise that you guys don't have?
Oh, as far as a licensed book?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few. There's some that I think company-wise we would love to do, like James Bond and Harry Potter. I think are probably the two. They're the two dream properties that I'm sure anybody who licenses any kind of comics would like to do.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's probably not something as big as that, but I'm a huge Rom Space Knight fan from back in the 80s when Marvel was doing that comic, and I've been trying one way or another to make that happen for years.
That's actually part two of the question is about ROM. As he said, Jay was wondering, since Mattel owns ROM, is
they
there?
Don't though. Hasbro owns ROM.
Oh, does Hasbro own ROM? Oh, see, you guys do stuff with Hasbro, so there you go. You've got it in.
Yeah, it is complicated. Like there's legal entanglements and things like that get in the way of that one. But since we've been in business with Hasbro for the last nearly 8 years now, I've been constantly talking to them about that. So that's one that I think I will always prod them on until it actually happens. So we'll see.
Well, I know you've got at least a couple of people out here that'll buy it. I would jump on a ROM book in a heartbeat, and so would Jay. So that would be absolutely fantastic.
It's funny that one, and again, it's like I always see sometimes people tune out when I start talking about ROM too much, but it's one of those licensed books that never felt like a licensed comic to me. It was a horrible toy.
Yeah.
The toy had no articulation. Like it looked like the very first toy that company had ever made.
Yeah.
But just the comic itself was it played more like a 50s sci-fi movie sort of thing. Like there's this paranoid streak going through it. Like it was really good. So I would love to try and tackle that. So, something like the X-Files too is one that I've really always wanted to try and do because that show is always that hits right in my sweet spots of interest. So that one's going to be a lot of fun doing that as well.
Well, that would be amazing. I know there's been mumblings of more X-Files stuff in the works, as far as like another movie and stuff like that. And, David Duchovny's still doing a lot of work, so you never know. I would love to see an X-Files book. That would be pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, no, it's coming in June. We announced that not too long ago, and we're announcing the creative team this weekend at the convention up in Seattle, so
awesome.
I'm pretty excited about where that's going to go.
That's great.
Another question we have is from one of our listeners who's also my girlfriend. If you could do an adaptation... she doesn't have to. I told her it's probably the worst thing you'll listen to, but she keeps listening. If you do an adaptation of a Ray Bradbury novel, besides Martian Chronicles, what would it be?
It's hard to think beyond Martian Chronicles because that is far and away my favorite book I've ever read in my life. So that's right up there, too, with one of these that I'm dying to do. And I know it was just done as a graphic novel a couple years ago. And, God, I just feel like it didn't do what I would have done with it, I guess is the polite way to say it. But again, like I'm so enamored by that book, I don't know that anybody else would have done justice in my eyes. So beyond that, I would love to do, I don't know, Illustrated Man would be great. Say Halloween, anything Bradbury's written would be great. I'm a huge fan of his stuff.
Very cool.
I would be totally down with Illustrated Man. That's probably my second favorite thing he's ever done. My favorite thing is kind of obscure. It's Green Shadow's White Whale.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that would translate very well to a comic, but hey, I would buy it anyway. So there you go.
Yeah, and the hard part is a lot of those guys, Bradbury and Harlan Ellison and guys like that. Their stuff maybe is thought of fondly, but I don't know that comic readers would, be as into the idea of maybe Martian Chronicles as I would. But that was one of the first sort of adult books I read as a kid. I read that when I was probably 10 years old. I read it like every year for the first 15 years after that. So it's just one of those that like captured my imagination in ways that novels rarely ever did back then. So it's one of those again that I'm hoping I can just wait it out. People can forget about the adaptation that just happened a year or so ago, and then 5 years from now I can get another shot at it or something.
Well, I've seen it happen before with comics adaptations. They just, no, we didn't like that one. We're just going to start it over. And
it's like movies, you redo these things. So,
well, I would like to see that. So we'll cross our fingers for that one. Okay, I got a couple other questions here. One, I just read G.I. Joe #1. Holy shit, that book's great.
I like that. I like statements that are.
It was awesome, and like I love the other G.I. Joe stuff that you've done, but the one thing that I didn't like about it, it's not really a complaint. It's just you had so much out there, and it was kind of hard for new readers to pick up where to start, because there was a lot of G.I. Joe books, and some of them were started I think as minis and then became ongoings, and a lot of people were hesitant to pick this up. But I talked to you because they're like, I don't know, is this going to be a good place to start, or is it going to be something that's that I'm going to be lost in the middle of. And it was a great starting book. It was a great place to jump in.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, because we've struggled with Joe a little bit in that I felt sort of the same way you do, or as your readers do, that it just got a bit convoluted. You know, you try and do things like we have a Cobra storyline that overlaps all three books and tries to tell one big story, but then it does just get to be this big storyline that's almost impenetrable for new readers or even people that have just been picking up one or two of the titles. So we thought, all right, well, let's now give each of these books a very clear and distinct identity. So if you want a Joe book that feels very, I guess, kind of superhero team-like, you've got the main G.I. Joe book that Fred Van Lente is doing. The Cobra book still has that same sort of espionage feel to it, and then letting Chuck Dixon do what he does, you know, making the Special Missions book sort of a Tom Clancy-esque kind of feel. So now they're three very distinct identities, and hopefully people can, you know, either jump on and follow what's going on or just, you know, pick out the one they want and go with that.
Now, are Special Missions and Cobra Files also going to be good starting points? Like, I know you said they're going to be very separate, but are they going to be first-time reader-friendly also?
Yeah, absolutely. That was our main goal this time, is just make sure that you know, anybody who picked up any one of these books could know exactly what's going on. So the Cobra book does a great job of catching people up on what's happened before and then going off in a new direction. And then same with Secret Missions. It's the covert Joe team, whereas the main G.I. Joe book is sort of the public face of the team.
Yeah.
Now, another book that you guys are doing really well on, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know that has a huge following, especially a lot of people from the 80s, a lot of kids, especially my age, watch that. And the way you guys managed to merge the TV show as well as the old comics and just make it into one is really, really great. And fans, we're selling a lot of it. A whole bunch of people are digging it. Do you guys have any plans to do any other series with them? I know you guys have the Micro series, but do you have any plans to like do its own separate spinoff involving the Foot Clan? I know you're doing a 4-issue series with it right now, but any other plans with it?
Foot Clan series is just gorgeous. Like, Mateus is so good. He's actually, when he finishes that, he's coming aboard and being the ongoing series artist. So
nice.
I think we'll probably try and dole out the miniseries not too frequently, because you always go through this thing of whenever a book is kind of a hit, you go through like, oh, let's do more, let's do that, you know, and then I'm wary of saturating.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to have too many Turtles books going out there, but that said, like, once Foot Clan ends, we've got another villain micro series coming up, and then we're doing a series that's sort of based on the animated show that's going on. That's our free comic book day issue this year.
Very cool.
And then that's going to spin off into an ongoing, or at least ongoing for a while. So we'll end up having probably 3 Turtles books going, with that new one aiming a bit younger.
And Eastman's only going to be involved in the main series, correct? Not so much the micro series that are going on?
No, I mean, like all of this stuff, we run everything by him and tell him what we want to do, and he's got oversight on it and, you know, suggest things here or there, but he's most actively involved. You know, he's almost... Which is also amazing to me. Like, Kevin Eastman is he's drawing issue 21, and just seeing pages come in from Kevin Eastman is, you know, I wasn't around in the 80s, like, helping produce comics back then. I was just reading them. So to be working with Kevin and having him send in pages is just this crazy sort of feeling for me.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about all the license stuff, I've noticed, like, you've pretty much nailed my childhood, like, all across the board. I'm 35, and, I mean, you're just running across the board, man. You've got Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you've got the Ghostbusters, you've got G.I. Joe. I mean, you've got all this fantastic stuff, and is that, like, I know as chief creative officer, I know you have a lot of control of what comes in and out. Like, are you kind of tapping into your childhood when you're making these choices, or when you're deciding what to at least go for, what to attempt to get?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that makes me happy. You keep doing that, because it seems like we like a lot of the same stuff. So
it's funny. The one thing we've always said is that, and, you know, we always say it, and who knows if something came along where it looked like it was going to make us mountains of money, we might end up doing it. But luckily, we've not been in the position where we had to do that. So we've always said we're going to pick properties that we like, because, you know, you never do a comic that's a miniseries and then it goes away, and then you spend 3 months and then it disappears. It's like if you license a property, you're living with it for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like it, like it's going to be a lot of years of not liking something. So we always try and approach it with, is this something we care about? Would we want to invest 5 years of our life in Transformers or Ninja Turtles or, whatever the case may be, Godzilla, that kind of thing. So luckily, we've been able to get a lot of the properties that we all like, and yeah, I mean, if I could add ROM or a couple of Micronauts, things like that I loved back then, that would just about finish me off.
Yeah, like Sean was saying, you pretty much captured his childhood, and you guys just announced all the Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo and Powerpuff Girls, which were pretty much my childhood. What can you tell us about those coming up?
Nothing yet, only because nothing's really figured out yet. We've just got the deal signed and announced it quickly because we wanted to announce it at the Comics Pro meeting last weekend. We wanted to get retailers some exciting news, so it's too soon to really know what we're doing, but I'm planning to launch with 3 series, like Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack, which I think just opens up all kinds of doors for some great visuals. And then Ben 10, because that's got good ties to the comic world, being developed by Joe Casey and Joe Kelly and those Man of Action guys at that studio. So I think that's where we would start. And then from there, I don't know. I guess we'll see which ones people are most interested in. And if people would rather see Dexter or Johnny Bravo or what the case may be, we may try some as backup strips just to, test out a lot of different ones and let people get a look at them and see what they respond to the most.
Well, I'm pretty stoked about Johnny Bravo.
Hell yeah.
And I know that almost everybody I know that has read or heard this news so far is really excited. So I think you hit it out of the park just announcing these books already.
It's a weird one because I guess because it had come and gone, like Powerpuff Girls is not really an ongoing cartoon right now, although they are bringing it back. But I didn't expect it to get the level of attention that it got, but I don't know that we've ever announced anything that's gotten me the same level of mail and calls and people contact me about it. So it's great. You never quite know what to expect when you announce these things and what the reaction is going to be. So I'm very happy to hear that it's gone over so well.
Oh yeah, it's going over great. Another thing about all this stuff is a lot of licensed books over the years, done by certain other companies in particular, tend to just kind of be rehashing the cartoon or the old books or whatever. And I really like the fact that all the stuff you're doing it's really got its own identity, but still keeping true to the core of it. I mean, you can read the G.I. Joe or the Transformers or the Turtles, and you can remember all the stuff you loved as a kid, and all the characters are there. But you've got a really fresh take and really interesting view on everybody, and new stories. And I really like what you're doing with them. I think you're doing a great job.
No, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think the editorial here can take a little bit of credit, but certainly the creators. But I would really credit licensors for understanding this stuff more than they used to, because back in the 80s when I was reading some of this licensed stuff, it was so just designed to sell toys or to sell a movie that, like I say, something like ROM stood out because it felt very different. But a lot of them, like G.I. Joe, nobody put their greatest talent on the stuff. They left their best talent to work on Spider-Man and X-Men, that sort of thing. So you didn't always get the same level of creators working on the books, and you didn't get licensors that were willing to let you play around as much now. But now they seem to get that doing comics that aren't just designed to sell toys, but also tell good stories first is pretty key, in that people don't really want stuff that's just a commercial for another property or another a toy or game or whatever. So I think licensors deserve a lot of applause for lightening up and letting people just tell good comics and good stories now. Mars Attacks blows me away that we do so many licensed books where we are somewhat careful. You can't just arbitrarily go killing Transformers or even characters in True Blood. But Mars Attacks, it's like, go kill and destroy and maim and make it better. And it's so freeing to be able to do those kinds of things that you can only worry about just bringing on the best creators and not worry about licensors getting too heavy-handed with this stuff.
Yeah, I reviewed one of our early episodes. Like we've been around forever. 4 episodes ago, I reviewed the Mars Attacks and Transformers, and I loved it. I called it the Big Dumb Fun Book of the Week because it was just fun and silly but well written, and it was a great book. It was just really fun to read.
I was happy to see that Mars Attacks thing went over as well as it did, because that's another one where you never quite know. Like, all right, we're mixing Mars Attacks with Popeye and with Kiss and with Transformers. Like, this could just be terrible, but I think I think it came together really nicely, and people seemed to get into just the spirit of ridiculousness of it all and had some fun with it. So that was nice too.
My only problem with it was I wanted to read the stories of the variant covers. Like I wanted to read Mars Attacks Strangers in Paradise so bad. And it's just like, oh, why can't I have this book right now?
How ridiculous is it that Terry Moore did that cover? Like, again,
that's awesome.
I was thinking back going, Terry Moore did and Dave Sim did Mars Attacks Cerebus. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why are these guys wasting their time on this? But, every now and then, like, even these guys that do sort of critically acclaimed books like to let their hair down, just have some fun. So that was great. In fact, one of those, I'll give you this at least. One of those covers that we did that was only a cover is actually going to become a miniseries later this year.
Oh, hell.
The people behind it were like, oh, wait, this is great. We should do this.
Well, that's awesome. The variant covers were awesome. The books themselves were great. I had a great time with them.
I think the variant covers did confuse some people because they were like, wait a second, where's ROG 2000? Some people that didn't know what they were just saw the cover on the stands and then they go, wait, why are there Transformers inside this? But the cover shows Spike? Like, what's going on?
We don't have that much time left with you, so I figured I'd ask you this. What can you tell us about any upcoming projects that you guys are doing that most people don't know about quite yet?
Wow, let me think. Well, we're announcing the X-Files creative team this weekend. I'm trying to think if there's any announcements that aren't quite out there that are cleared to talk about. There's always a bunch of stuff in the works, but a lot of that is sort of locked down until papers are signed and everything falls into place. So there's stuff I would love to talk about.
We won't tell anybody. Go ahead.
We're also going to announce the writer this weekend, but not the artist yet because that's still being nailed down. But it's fun to do stuff like X-Files and Thunder Agents and stuff that I read as comics before that now we get to have a hand in controlling. Same with Judge Dredd. Like Judge Dredd, I'm having a lot of fun with because that's another one of those that I was a Marvel kid growing up, and then when I came across some of those Brian Boland issues, it blew my mind that comics could look like that and feel like that. So it's fun to be able to be on this end of now creating those sorts of things, which is a total non-answer to your question.
Well, we understand there's some things you just can't talk about. That Judge Dredd book is great, too, by the way.
Yeah, it's fun. And I feel like it's getting better and getting more of a voice behind it, too. Like, it was, we didn't want to try to start off too big. We wanted to just tell quick, short stories people could get into, but now we're building to something big, and Dredd's going to head out into the Cursed Earth, which I don't know that anybody knows that. So, we're going to really expand the scope of the Dredd stories as we go forward here.
Awesome. Well, I like that book a lot. I like also that it's a little more accessible. I think one of the reasons that people over here don't read a lot of Judge Dredd is because they look at the history of it and you're like, weekly since 1977.
Well, and he ages in real time, so like, oh wait, I need to get into New Adventures of a 70-year-old. Like it's, and when you've grown up on it, it's great. But yeah, for readers over here, it's maybe not as easy to find your place with it. So yeah, they were good about letting us restart things in our own way, but then we're also going to be doing reprints, like monthly reprints of the old Brian Boland stuff too. So hopefully, whatever form of Dredd people are into, they can, they can get some of that.
Well, I got one more question for you. Then we'll let you go after this, but tell us about your upcoming book, The Colonized. It's coming out in April, I believe.
Yes, starting in April. And yeah, I'm working with a guy named Drew Moss. And Drew did a Zombies Robots story in one of the anthologies, an annual I did last year. He didn't draw my story, but I really liked what he did. And so when I was looking at this, I wanted to do something that felt a lot like 50s B movies that I grew up on. Those movies you'd watch on Sunday afternoon or something. I wanted something that had that same kind of feel and sort of a Bollywood aesthetic to it. And Drew has done a great job, giving the book that kind of a feel. So it's, in its simplest terms, it's basically zombies and aliens and militiamen all mixing it up with each other.
I'm from Kentucky. That sounds like a damn nightmare.
Right, I'm not entirely sure who the bad guy is here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Although it's not, I also didn't want to make it anything either stereotypical or inflammatory, really. So in this encampment, I will say that while some of the older guys in the story are more of your militia guys, some of the next generation that's grown up in that town are more, they're aiming more for like the zero sustainability. So they're almost more the new hippie sort of people. So it's not just sort of the stereotypical people that that you read about or anything like that. So I hope.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've read the little bit that was in previews and just the synopsis of it. It looks really cool. The art looks great, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll pick it up as soon as it comes out.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. We know you're a very busy man. You've got to get going. We really appreciate you giving our tiny little podcast some of your time. It was amazing talking to you, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it again. So it was good talking to you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Everybody, stick around after this interview. We're going to do our weekly book review show. So be sure you stick around and check it out. And again, thank you very much, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, no more recording. Chris, thank you very much, man. We really appreciate it. That was an awesome interview.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, like I say, I'm happy to do it again. It's just sometimes it's hard to get free, but I can certainly schedule more time if you want anything to go longer too.
Yeah, sure. I know we're in Florida, you're in California, so there's a little time difference, but we'll get with you. I think we'll have this up later tonight, and we'll tweet it out and all that. So if you want to share it, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I definitely will. If you want to hit me on Twitter when you spread it, I will definitely spread the word.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, we will talk to you again very soon. Again, thank you very much, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
Oh, sure. Yeah, take care, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys. Whoa. Thanks for sticking around after our awesome Chris Ryall interview. We hope you listened to that. It was at the beginning, so if you're just starting in the middle, then you're crazy.
Yeah, go back and listen to it.
That was a really great interview.
He was a super nice guy.
Thank you again to Chris for giving our tiny little podcast a half hour of his time. It was pretty awesome, pretty informative, and it was all around amazing. So be sure you go out and check out some of the awesome IDW books that are on the shelves right now. They have a ton of stuff, and a lot of it is fantastic. So go read. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Famous Faces and Funnies in West Melbourne, Florida, and InvestComics.com. Go check out Invest Comics. It's a great site. Reviews and hot picks and interviews and our podcast and
our video show. My video show.
Video show. Fick. Woo! So go check out Invest Comics. Lots of good stuff there.
Couple things of news we tried to do last week, but we had some error with our episode last week. We apologize for that. Big news last week was they announced the new Green Lantern creative teams. Writing Green Lantern is going to be Robert Venditti, drawn by Bailey Tan. Green Lantern Core is going to be Joshua Fialkov, and Bernard Chang. New Guardians is Justin Jordan and Brad Walker. Red Lanterns is Fialkov
and
I can't read
Alessandro Vitti.
Okay. And then Larfleeze is going to be by Keith Giffen and Scott Collins. So that's big news. I'm not sure if sales will still hold up with those guys on it. Hopefully they stay somewhat good. I'm not expecting them to sell the same amount as they did before. But
I've been hearing some interesting things. I listened to a pretty cool interview with Joshua Fialkov the other day on, I believe, the IGN Assemble podcast. And he's a crazy and funny dude. And he sounds like he's got some really good ideas for the Green Lantern Corps and Red Lanterns. He said that he wants them to kind of go in lockstep. They're kind of two sides of the same coin, and I don't think you're going to have to read both to get the other, but it just sounds like he's got some really good ideas. So I'm going to check them out. I'm actually going to buy a Red Lanterns book. I'm going to see. I'm going to give him a shot because I like the guy's writing a lot, so I'm going to give it a shot.
I'm really looking forward to Green Lantern by Robert Venditti. He's writing Exo Manowar, and that's probably my favorite Valiant book. So
and he's writing Demon Knights, which is really good.
Yeah. So that's the big news we missed from last week. So we're kind of going to just jump right into the books.
We got a little more. We got the IDW stuff.
I did not see those up there. I'm sorry. I was so focused on that.
We've talked about it a little bit with our interview with Chris. But the full news is IDW announced that they got some more licenses from Cartoon Network, which is awesome. They're bringing back Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Samurai Jack, and Ben 10. That's pretty awesome. I believe he said the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, and Ben 10 were probably going to be the three that started it.
That he would launch with. Yeah, he still, I guess he said he didn't know what he was going to exactly do because they just got the rights and wanted to get it out there.
Yeah. They also, DC announced the Batman Superman book with Greg Pak and Jay Lee. They released a little bit of art, a couple black and white
sketches.
It looks pretty good. I like Jay Lee's art. I'm just curious how it's going to go over on a book like this.
When I hear Greg Pak, though, I just think of Marvel. I don't associate him with
Yeah,
DC
I think of
characters.
Hulk.
Yeah, I think of Hulk and Hercules.
Which were both good, so I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
It's just weird putting him on Batman and Superman. They're two flagship characters.
And then over the week, there was a couple of Marvel announcements. Those little Marvel teaser posters. The first one was Of the Dead. We think that's going to be that's alluding to the book that George Romero announced he was going to be writing a few months back in an interview. He said it didn't have anything to do with existing Marvel characters or superheroes, and it had to do with zombies. Surprise, surprise. So there's that, and they also had a couple other posters that were kind of weird. There was the big number 1. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was a big number 1 made up of all the names of a bunch of their heroes.
Yeah.
And then there was the other one that was 52 like Wolverine claw marks.
Yeah, really, guys?
And so no one knows if they're just fucking with DC or if they're really going to put out. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me either way if they were just fucking with them or if they were actually going to put out a Marvel 52. I don't know. Who knows? I guess we'll see.
A bit of sad news from last week. Scott Clark passed away. He did Stormwatch, Brightest Day, Batman Inc., and Grifter, just to name a few of his things. He's a super young guy and a very talented artist. Sad news last week from it.
Also, if you check out our Facebook page, we talked about a college course that's going to be offered. It is, what was the whole college course thing again, Kirsty? You remember it as Gender in Comics?
Yeah, Gender in Comics being offered online for free with, I believe it was Bell State University. And we'll repost the link since it probably got covered up by a bunch of other stuff since we didn't post the episode last week. But it's going to have weekly interviews with people like Gail Simone and Brian K. Vaughan. And all right, this was headed by Mark Waid, and he posted on markwaid.com on, I think, the 17th of February. So actually our friend Josh Maynard posted it to the Breaking the Fourth Wall's Facebook page, and it didn't really get seen by many since it was a fan that posted. So we just wanted to bring attention to it and let everybody know that it's out there and available. And definitely check it out. I've already signed up for the course. It's going to be, I believe, April 2nd through March 10th.
There's also some required reading for the class, which is pretty awesome. Action number 1, Action 267, Captain Marvel, Daredevil, Superman, Birthright. The first arc of Secret 6, Strangers in Paradise, Saga, and Why the Last Man, which Blanche considers, the person doing this, a gender textbook. It's pretty awesome. Lots of good stuff on this. Looks
like asking you to read all 60 issues of Y, or just like volume 1?
Yes. I don't know. I guess I just...
Because that's a lot to get into one course.
Yeah, I guess I just really...
And all like 60 issues of Strangers in Paradise?
Yeah, well, if not more.
Yeah, I think it was 100 maybe.
Yeah. I think
that's awesome, though.
I think it's just a suggested reading.
Okay. Read Y.
Read it.
I'm telling everyone to read Y.
That was like a pretty cool thing. It's a free online course, so go check it out, and you might learn something. And plus, you get all kinds of exclusive interviews with different creators, and you might learn a little something. You never know.
So we're going to cover a couple books from last week, a couple of the big books last week. The first one we're going to cover is JLA number 1, written by Jeff Johns, drawn by Finch?
David Finch.
David Finch. This was a really good first issue. It introduces the new Justice League. It's them being assembled from Waller, and I forget this guy's name, even though...
Steve Trevor.
Yeah. And it's pretty much how...
Wonder Woman's bitch.
It's pretty much how... By assembling this team, they're counteracting the Justice League because they have no control over the
Even
Justice
League. Even though I call utter bullshit on a couple of those pairings.
Yeah. I call bullshit on all the pairings. Besides anyone with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter.
Everyone forgets how strong he is.
But I think that Vibe and Flash could be okay because they're both a vibrational
Flash
thing.
would kick his ass.
Maybe not if he shut him down vibrationally.
Flash would kick his ass.
Maybe not.
You know why?
You
because
hate
he's fucking Flash.
Why
yes, I do hate Vibe.
Don't hate on Vibe.
I hate Vibe. You know why I hate Vibe?
Why are you Vibist?
I don't have a reaction to that one. You win.
The one I call bullshit on was like
Catwoman.
Catwoman, Batman. Yeah, bullshit. He'll whoop her ass, and then give her the bone. But the
battering.
Katana and Wonder Woman. What's she gonna do to Wonder Woman?
Yeah, is she not aware of Wonder Woman's book because that book's awesome and she's just kicking ass and taking names in that
Wonder Woman will make that bitch shine her invisible plane. That's never gonna happen. It's terrible.
That sounds like a really bad porn.
Yes.
Like shine my invisible plane.
Yes. Or a Hardee's commercial, which is kind of awesome.
When I see Hardee's commercials, I just think of Paris Hilton's nasty ass. Like,
She should be in an Arby's commercial.
Oh. All right. Oh, God.
I like JLA. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, other than the pairings, but when they say this, they just want their own government-run Justice League because the other Justice League is outside of everyone's control. They want something, and they said ultimately, if we had to, we could pair them off and try to handle them. Never going to happen.
If you want Martian Manhunter, this is the book to go to for Martian Manhunter.
It was good. That part was really cool. Yeah.
So I'm very happy with this one. I'm
going to stick with this book.
Of course,
I'm going to see what happens. David Finch's art's kind of weird sometimes. Like he makes Strip Trevor huge. Like his stuff's a little over muscled, I guess, at times.
I don't see him lasting past the first arc, and that sucks.
Is he one of those notoriously slow artists?
He's so detailed. He's slow. Yeah. I know they gave him a big head start on this, though.
Yeah, but good book. Check it out. If you like good DC teen books, I think you'll like it. They make Hawkman pretty awesome too.
Hawkman's a badass. Why couldn't the regular Hawkman book be like this?
Yeah, if they started the regular Hawkman book like this, I've been down. I'd have bought more than the first. I'm ashamed to admit I bought like the first 6 issues. I really wanted it to be good, and it just wasn't. But yeah, okay. All right, next book. G.I. Joe #1 by IDW. I forget the creative team on this. Let me look real quick. Fred Van Lente and writer Kurth. I don't have the first name. Sorry. This book was amazing. It was so good.
This was a good jumping off point. I finally read this.
Did you? Oh, good. If you're worried about all the other G.I. Joe stuff that happened before this by IDW,
don't worry about it.
There was miniseries that turned into maxis, and there was multiple G.I. Joe books, multiple Cobra books. They continued the Real American Hero original G.I. Joe book from the 80s.
You just need this book, though. Yeah. You don't need to worry about anything that happened before this. You can just read this book, and you will be fine. And it's really, really good. I would say it's almost as good as Cobra #1 a couple years ago from Christos Gage.
If you like the other G.I. Joe stuff, you'll like this. And if you're new to the G.I. Joe stuff, you'll like this. And if you're just a fan of the cartoon and the toys, you'll like this. Because it's nothing to do with that bullshit movie they made a couple years ago either. Like,
I was about to say that.
Oh, God, that movie was fucking hot garbage.
The Rock's in this one.
This new one looks pretty cool.
I don't believe you.
I don't know. I'm going to give it a chance.
Don't believe you.
But this book is great. And G.I. Joe Special Missions is going to be another one running alongside it. It's going to be more of the... It's done by... Shit, we just talked about it earlier. I can't remember the guy's name. Chuck Dixon.
Chuck Dixon.
I
have a Chuck Dixon story at some point if we ever want to go over this.
Oh, yes. Let's do it. It's going to be more of a secret ops, black ops kind of thing from what we've heard. And then they're going to have the Cobra book, Cobra Files, also starting over here pretty soon. And we were told by Chris in the interview earlier, if you listened, that these are good jumping on points and kind of on their own. They're not.
Yeah, you don't have to read all 3 of them,
which is good. But
that's good.
If they're anywhere near as good as this, then you're gonna read all 3 of them, or I'll kick you in the taint because this book was awesome.
Next book we're going to talk about is another IDW book. We swear we didn't do this on purpose. Locke and Key #3, Locke and Key Omega #3. This is by far my favorite comic book coming out every single month, and this continues the story of Dodge taking over Bodhi's body, and he's plotting his final act against the Locke family. And it's this weird issue where it's setting up, and you think everyone's going to have like this happy ending, and it's sort of like this false hope because Dodge is just one step closer to unlocking this doorway to hell, and it's going to be a great ending. I'm very sad there's only 4 issues left after this. So.
I am happy that there's only 4 issues, only because of the fact that I'm waiting to read it all at once. And I'm dying to read it.
I'm definitely doing that when it happens. I will take all my hardcovers and just sit there.
Oh, I'm going to sit and read it front to back. And I actually just reread the first 3 or 4 volumes. Mm-hmm. Clockworks is 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I haven't read Clockworks yet either. I've been waiting. I want to read it all. Like I love those books so much that I knew if I kept reading, I would just be dying for these issues, which I am, but not as bad. So I'm waiting until this Omega ends, and I'm going to sit down and reread what I've already read, and then read it cover to cover. I'm going to sit in one sitting and read it all.
We should have a Locke and Key special then.
Let's do it. We're going to have a Locke and Key party. It'll be 70s style.
Mm-hmm. No.
Boom,
oh, come on. You can't just shoot us down like that.
It was the key party part.
Don't worry about it. Let them have have the bad Joe. It wasn't a Sebastian level Joe.
I'm pretty stoked for this to finish, only so I can read it, not story.
I really hope they make a big collection, like he was saying. Like, I'll pay $150.
That'll be like there's certain books. I think we talked about this before that you'd like to have as like a nice omnibus or as a 3 or 4 hardcover set, like Sandman. To me, like Sandman and Transmetropolitan and Preacher, Why the Last Man. Ex Machina.
I don't think Why Last Man won't take up so much. I don't know how to lift this.
But in a nice, like those Walking Dead hardcover omnibuses. Compendium kind of things. Like,
you could beat off a zombie with them. You could fight off a zombie with
You could beat off a zombie if you wanted to, but it would probably fall off in your hand. And then what are you going to do?
That is the worst episode of Walking Dead that will ever have. That is when it jumps the shark.
Yes.
Like Andrea gets so desperate for love and attention, she has to fuck a zombie.
Oh, I hate her. I hate her to death.
Yeah, Saga number 10. So the next book we're going to talk about is Saga number 10.
Aww.
Written by what?
Sad. Saga number 10 is sad.
Why is it sad?
Because I can't tell you what happens, but it's sad.
We can. Spoiler warning.
No, I don't want to spoil this
I don't want to know any more than I already know.
This one, no.
By Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, by the way. This book continues to be amazing. Anytime Brian K. Vaughan writes comics, it's amazing. But
I want to have your baby, Brian K. Vaughan.
He already has 2 kids. He doesn't need an illegitimate love child. It's not Dan Marino.
Yeah,
I did that. The Dolphin fan did that. What?
He's way better than Dan Marino.
The hell? Well, damn it. I can't argue with that. He's the Dan Marino of comic books. There we go.
Yeah, he is. How many Super Bowls does Dan Marino have?
He should have one.
He's more the Joe Montana of comics.
Fucking Joe Montana. Joe Montana. Watch me win. Dick.
Win all the things, Joe Montana. Win all the things.
He's the best quarterback ever. I'm going to cry. I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
All right. Saga number 10. One of the things I really like about this book, not just this book, but there's a really good example of it in this specific issue, is that he will flash back, but not tell you he's flashing back. You don't have to have, in a lot of other books are like 10 years ago or something indicating that it's a flashback or it's in the past. He doesn't. He just writes the story, and you just know that it's in the past. He doesn't have to tell you. He doesn't have to hold your hand and walk you through like you're a half a tard.
Another thing I love about Brian K. Vaughan books is there's no clear jumping on point besides the beginning, so you're forced to read the whole story. You can't just I'm just going to jump on this issue. No, you have to go back and read the whole story, and you get to enjoy so much of it. And that is one of the best things. I'm so happy he does that. Fiona Staples' art in this is absolutely gorgeous. She draws this universe. I can't picture anyone else. 10 issues in, I can't picture anyone else drawing this universe. These characters are meant to be drawn by her.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's like there are certain books that you identify with the artist as much as the writer. That they couldn't be written or drawn by anybody else. Like I can't picture Preacher done by anyone but Steve Dillon.
Oh no!
Like there's no way. And there are other characters who I've seen drawn by a million other people, like the Punisher. But when I think of the Punisher, I automatically think of the Steve Dillon, Garth Ennis Punisher.
When I think of Spider-Man, I think of John Romita Jr.'s Spider-Man with Straczynski. I don't know why, just every time. And it's not even the best Spider-Man, it's the first Spider-Man story I read.
It's a very distinctive Spider-Man, too.
But one of the best parts in this isn't spoiling it for Kirsty, who wants to read it, is the Baby Planet. Baby Planet is awesome. That was one of the best things. Like, what's happening here? Oh, it's a baby planet. I just want to hold the evil little baby planet.
Somebody out there, is writing that book that they read to each other. The book.
Oh, they're writing it.
Somebody out there is writing that book as we speak. And it's like there's.
I would buy that book.
There's also some weird clopper out there writing clopper Brian K. Vaughan fiction, I bet.
Oh,
cloppers. Damn you, cloppers. But this book's fantastic. It's $3 and it gets
It's Ampersand and Lion Cat.
That's weird. I love them both so much.
So do other people.
This book's awesome. For $3 a month, you get more story than you do in almost anything else out there, and it's fantastic.
And there's fan letters.
Yes.
Fan letters always win.
And you can go buy the trade, which is the first 5 or 6 issues.
It's the first 6 issues.
6 for $10?
$10.
It's crazy.
It's one of the best things Image does.
You can buy the first 6 issues for less than the individual issues would have cost. Now you can't because what's issue one's like $50 or something like that.
60. Last time I checked. All right, so we're going to move on to this week's books. The big news from this week's books, spoiler alert, but also I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going on comic book websites, so it's been spoiled for you since Sunday. Batman Incorporated number 8 by Grant Morrison, and I don't know the guy's first name, Burnham. I haven't been reading this story, so I was a little confused with it, but I got the gist of it. They pretty much killed off Damian.
Yeah, and I got to give them this. For as much else has been hyped in DC, as much as stuff gets spoiled months ahead of time or that they lead up to it, you didn't know this until that douchebag revealed the cover.
Some people didn't know it. Retailers knew it about a month ago because they told them, like, hey, you want to increase your orders on this.
Yeah. So. But still, it's a pretty good job of keeping something like that under their hat until they really wanted to.
I just don't...
I don't get why they did it in Batman.
I don't want... Yeah, they should have done it in Batman. Even Batman and Robin would have been impactful. I get that it's Grant Morrison's character. Grant Morrison's done more with this character than anyone else has. And that's fine. That's a total good reason for him to do it. But put it in Batman. Put it in Batman Inc. Do a special. Because this was so confusing to anyone buying it just for this that was actually interested in reading and not just buying it because it was a death issue. Because I haven't been reading Batman Inc. I don't know about this Leviathan thing. I don't know why kids were crazy and trying to kill everyone.
No. And it also, like, DC kind of made it clear when they brought Batman Inc. into, like, back out after DC New 52 started that it was kind of its own thing. Like, it really didn't fall under DC New 52 continuity. But now all of a sudden this is... Immediately after Scott Snyder writes, like, one of the best Joker stories ever written, and his, like, maybe not his magnum opus, but probably close to it, like, I feel like people that are very much in the comics world know how great this Snyder run was, and how huge it was, and how important it was, and the Batman thing, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But, like, I think that they stole the thunder...
From Joker, yeah.
From the death of the family with this, because it was the week after? 2 weeks after?
2 weeks. Yeah, I will tell you guys this, though. This isn't really spoiling anything, but you will find out who the next Robin is. It will be indicated in 18, Batman and Robin 18, and you will find out in 19. So if you're interested in picking those up.
Do you know?
Oh, I know, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it after the podcast. I think I know, but I could be wrong. Another little bit of news. Man, we were IDW heavy this week, but that's okay, though. I didn't even mention all the other books from last week that I really liked. Image and IDW are going to publish Monkey Brain comics. Monkey Brain is a great comics company that does digital-only stuff. One of the books they're most known for is called Edison Rex, and they are finally given the rights to their stuff to be actually put out in print. The first one is going to be Edison Rex in June. IDW is publishing that, and then Masks and Monsters is coming from Shadowline Image in July, and then there's going to be some other stuff. Amelia Cole and the Unknown World, and Red Light Properties, and Wander are coming out by IDW. So that's cool. Like, there's still some people out there that just do not like digital books. I prefer print comics, but I do like digital stuff too, so I'm fine with either way. There's some people that just will not buy a digital comic.
Can't do digital. It gives me a headache.
Yeah. So it's cool that there's some great previously digital-only stuff that is coming to print very soon. So keep an eye out for Edison Rex. I haven't read it myself yet, but I hear great things about it. All right. Is there any more news? News? I don't think so.
Okay. Next book we're going to talk about, Aquaman 17, written by Jeff Johns, drawn by Paul Pelletier. This is the aftermath, the epilogue of Throne of Atlantis. I thought this was good. I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. The art kind of threw me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just not...
Well, he drew the Throne of Atlantis stuff.
It just... Yeah, I know. It just didn't seem...
He'll be at MegaCon March 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Sorry. Ooh, MegaCon. We'll be at MegaCon March 15th, 16th, and 17th.
You will be. I'll be zombified. I was like,
I'll come work the booth a little bit with you. I'll help out.
Don't do that to yourself.
But see, I can just leave whenever I want.
Yeah. So, lucky bastard.
We'll be there handing out our business cards at MegaCon. So if a weird dude comes up and hands you a cool shiny card with our new logo, courtesy of my wife, then just nod, smile, and take it. And give it to a friend.
Back to Aquaman. Like I was saying, this is really good. This is setting up. It's pretty much how the world views Aquaman after the Throne of Atlantis. And it's just... He went from people making fun of him to people sort of trusting him to no one trusting him now just because they blame all Atlanteans for what happened in Boston and Gotham. And dogs are going crazy.
Our dogs are going... in the background.
But yeah, it definitely sets up for the next arc with the Ice King, which I still think is funny.
Yeah. The Sea Devils come back in this. The Sea Devils. They brought the Blackhawks back with New 52. They can bring the fucking Sea Devils back. Come on. The Sea Devils are basically the Blackhawks on a boat.
God damn it.
Fucking Sea Devils. Even the Sea Devils don't trust Aquaman. You're the Sea Devils. How you gonna not trust Aquaman? You know what he can do if he wants to? Turn your boat upside down and have fish eat you. Fuck you. You be nice to Aquaman, Sea Devils.
He had a nice conversation at almost the end of the book with all the fishes. It's like, I'm sorry, guys.
He petted
He wanted a group hug.
He did.
Hey, fishes. The next book we both read was Hawkeye #8 by Fraction and Aja. I thought this was good.
It was good. It has been my least favorite issue so far, though.
That's what I was going to say. Hawkeye has been so amazing every issue that this was the issue that wasn't amazing but was still good.
I just don't like that chick.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
It's unimportant. The chick that he gets the car from, that he who obviously fucked him over earlier, and then she just pops back in nowhere. Which the scene when she pops in front of like Black Widow and Mockingbird and who else?
Oh, I forget. I don't have the book in front of me.
Somebody
So I can't tell. Yeah, but I love Kate. Kate is one of the best characters in this book.
Yes.
She's just driving. I'm not staying around when you guys get arrested. She drives away. It's consistently good, but this was probably the weakest of the grouping so
I just
far.
feel like that. Yeah, he has obviously relationship issues. He always gets involved with people he probably shouldn't. But I feel like he's doing stuff for this girl without asking questions and just. I mean, he goes to jail for her. Like, he gets arrested.
He's not thinking with his head. He's thinking with something else.
Yeah, but it's Hawkeye. He gets mad pussy.
Does he?
It's Hawkeye.
Does he?
He could go to any bar and flash his Avengers card and be like, bitches.
I feel like you live in a different fantasy world than I do.
It's Hawkeye. Look at the dude.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like, you got a bow and arrow. That's cool. If it was like Captain America, I mean, you're servicing your country, really.
He's servicing something.
Yeah. So, Captain America gets more pussy than Hawkeye.
Hey, but Hawkeye's not going to have.
But they probably have had a 3-way or 2.
Maybe so.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. All right.
I thought we were going to talk about Hawkeye and Captain America doing the old Eiffel Tower on
They are making an Avengers porn, so you know it's probably happening.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. The DC one? The JLA one?
Have you seen the Batman one?
No.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
I haven't seen any of them, oddly enough. But
it's amazing. It's so bad.
Aren't two of the in the JLA one? Aren't 2 of the male characters gay? Was it?
Shut up! Shut up! Just go on to the next book, please.
No, it was Nightwing and somebody else.
Green Lantern.
Nightwing, Green Lantern. Random.
Speaking of gay, Young Avengers #2 came out this week. There's gay characters in that book. Good transition there.
I love this book. This book is weird, but I really like it.
I can't do it anymore.
Oh man, the layout was cool. Like they actually crawl out of the panels and walk around through the panels.
That was
book. Cool. I just like it. I think it, as weird and confusing as the first issue was, they kind of flesh some things out a little bit, and it's still weird. You're not quite sure what all's going on, but they I don't know. It's a crazy book, but it's really good, and you get to see more Loki, and he's a pretty awesome character in this book.
It's good. It's just not my type of book. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It falls in line with his photogram that he did, and even some of his other work. I can't get behind. It's not my type of comic book.
This is about Kieran Gillen and
Jamie McKelvin to it. Yeah. The thing that gets me is they introduced a whole bunch of young Avengers, and I know that they're gradually going to be introduced over time to form the team. But I feel like that shouldn't take more than 3 issues, and it seems like it's going to take more than 3 issues.
Well, yeah, that Miss America chick wasn't even in this book.
Yeah, and Kate wasn't in this book.
And, Novar wasn't in the book.
Yeah, it's just like, guys, come on.
And I guess he's going to be a part of it now because I thought he was just Kate's fuck buddy in the first issue, but they actually throw him in the front panel. The only thing that's kind of weird is I don't know if this is great or just trying too hard, but at the beginning it does a whole weird social networking, Twitter kind of thing.
Tumblr. It does a Tumblr
thing. Like a whole bunch of shit, and it's I don't know if that's okay, cool. This is going to appeal to people, or if
he did the same thing. Or no, who did it? Who writes Morning Glory? Nick Spencer did the same thing in Forgetless with Twitter. Yeah.
Weird. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. They're trying to reach out to, like, you know,
The younger audience.
cool, hip, younger audience. But at the same time, when you were younger, when you saw people trying to reach out like that, you just thought that was fucking lame. You know, like, you're trying too hard, asshole. You know, but it was cool. I mean, it's not like it just was all over the book. It was like the first splash page, little intros of the characters. You know, it was neat. I like this book. I'm going to keep picking it up.
There really wasn't that many books. Like, I think this is the last book we're going to go in depth about. Guardians 0.1 by Brian Bendis and Steve McNiven. This book, you didn't read this book at all?
I haven't read it yet. I'm going to. I just haven't gotten around to it.
This book is absolutely awesome. I was not expecting it from this book. I was just like, it's going to be a Marvel space book. Nova was okay. This one was fantastic. It's the background on Star-Lord. And it's
cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a spoiler at the end. You find out who it is, but it's not that big. You catch on pretty quick. But it's this kid. His mom lives on a farm, and this warrior comes and knocks up his mom and goes back into space.
As they do.
Yeah, and there's this alien race that's coming to kill him, and he pretty much grows up an orphan. And then at the very end, he becomes Star-Lord, and he's sitting there, and he assembles the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm just like, I don't know what it was. I can't really put a thing to it, but it was just such a good book and such a good jumping-on point for anyone interested in the Marvel Space Universe. And this is a great book to read if you're excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, or you have no idea what that movie's about, which a lot of people won't. You could just pick this up, and you'll actually know what's going on.
Well, I thought they did a good job with Nova last week.
Yeah.
With it being a good jumping on point, because there's a lot of history with Nova, especially. There's a lot of history with Guardians of the Galaxy. All those old books were great. When they brought the cosmic stuff back a few years ago, that was really good.
Yeah.
But
you don't need to know any events that happen.
And that's good, because when you look back at that stuff, when you look at if you just look up Marvel cosmic stuff, there's a lot of shit out there that's kind of overwhelming. It's like, where do I start? There's lots of miniseries, lots of ongoing, lots of crossover stuff. You're like, fuck,
pick up this and Nova, and you were good. I can't wait to see this two crossover too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. I don't know why I haven't read it. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's been a busy week. That's all the books we're going to go in depth on. I wanted to rattle off a couple other things real quick that I liked or we liked or whatever. In the interview, we mentioned the book that Chris Ryall's writing right now called The Hollows. Issue 3 came out last week, but it sold out before I can get it, so I've got one on order. I read the first 2 issues, and it's really good. It's like a post-apocalyptic thing set in Japan. Basically, the Earth itself was poisoned, toxic, and radioactive. And so they genetically altered these giant trees, and they built cities up in the trees. But there are still people on the ground hiding out, and there are these things called the Hollows, where there's kind of these zombie-like creatures. They don't explain a lot about them yet. Maybe they do in issue 3, I don't know. But they'll suck your souls out, and these people that live on the ground have to hide from them and fight them and stuff, and almost Walking Dead-esque kind of. And the people that live up in the trees above them are all the scientists and creators and rich people and all that. And a lot of times they just are constantly inventing things, and they build these jetpacks that fly down and get supplies. And the book involves one of these scientists actually coming down himself and meeting some of the people that live on the ground and interacting with them. And it's really good. It's written by Chris Ryall and drawn by Sam Keith from Sandman and the Max. I mean, he's a legendary artist. If you don't know who he is, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Great book, man. Really beautiful. Really interesting. There's a character named Erp, who I love. He kind of reminds me of a Ren and Stimpy character.
Ren and Stimpy.
He just says Erp and licks things. It's pretty awesome.
That is Ren and Stimpy.
But check that out.
Another book we're going to do a quick review on is Daredevil 23. I love this book. It was written by Mark Waid, drawn by Chris Samnee. This is pretty much what you would do if... Oh, man, I just drew a blank on his name. What's his assistant's name? Froggy.
Yeah.
If Froggy
Nelson?
Yeah, he's has cancer. They haven't confirmed it yet. That's a spoiler, I guess. But it's pretty much like he just wants to go and see the city with Matt. And it's just a real good issue. And then it's a whole bunch of people you found out have been subject to experiments trying to replicate Daredevil's powers.
That was cool. They retold Daredevil's origin.
Yeah, I really thought it was a new jumping off point. Like, wait, what?
But
everyone knows this already.
Except that was awesome. It's like you think it's a rehash of like, oh yeah, they're telling the origin again. Then you're like, holy shit, it's not. But they did. But wow, that's awesome.
Chris Samnee is he's so great for this book. I'm so glad they the official ongoing artist for it now.
Yeah, it's really good. The cover was awesome too.
Yep.
The Flaming D's.
Yes.
Flaming D's. That's usually a bad thing.
Yeah.
Some other really quick books that came out last week. Avengers #6 was really, really good. It was the issue that dealt with the origin, another standalone origin issue of Captain Universe. Really good. It also goes a little more into the Atom-like character that hatched in the first story arc. They reveal he's not Black Veil. His name's Night Mask, which it was pretty obvious before this it was going to be the new universe. They come out and tell you, White Event, Night Mask, that's new universe.
Wonder Woman 17 came out, and this continues to be the best Vertigo book that's not Vertigo. I have no idea where this fits in with DC continuity, but it's absolutely fantastic. And Orion and Wonder Woman have the best good job ever. Yeah, those are good job.
Good game.
Yep.
Good game. Good games. It's pretty amazing. I read My Little Pony Twilight Sparkle, #1, a little standalone. I read it because I never read or watched anything My Little Pony my entire life, but I have a good friend named Dean who loves it, and he's like, please go and read something or watch something, check it out, it's good writing. I read this, not necessarily my cup of tea, but the writing was pretty good. It was a pretty cute book. I can see some of the appeal. If you're into that kind of cartoon stuff, it's good. The art was good. The writing was pretty solid. I don't know.
I read this as well, and it was a cute story. It's just not something that I would really get into, but I guess I can see the appeal.
I can see why kids love this book.
Yeah. Vibe. Did you read Vibe?
No, I'm not going to read it.
Vibe #1.
Stand by this. I'm not reading.
I'm sorry. Justice League of America is Vibe #1. First issue was co-written, plotted with Jeff Johns and
say goodbye after this issue.
And Kreisberg. I can't remember his first name. He's the guy that produces Arrow on the CW.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jeff Johns wrote this last issue of Arrow. If you enjoyed that, or last episode. Sorry.
This was pretty good. I liked it. Sean won't read it, but I liked it.
I flipped through it. I know what happens at the end with the Omega signs. So.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. There's some cool spoiler stuff at the end. Like if you've been reading New 52 this whole time and you've seen stuff about the Black Room or the Red Room where they have all these hints of other characters and things from the old universe. There's some of that. They have these little containment units with names above them, and you see like Gypsy, and you see an old Grant Morrison character, Criz, something like that. It's a little like lightning kind of thing character he made. There was a Scissor Man in it, which is awesome, which is from Doom Patrol. Grant Morrison's running Doom Patrol. But pretty neat. Not a bad book. The art was really good. I'm going to stick with it, see how it goes. They really seem like they're going to try to make it a focal point in this universe. So I might as well stick with it for a little bit, see how it goes.
Right.
Last week also was Justice League 17, the almost end of Throne of Atlantis, where everything comes to a head.
What is the end? Yeah.
Epilogue.
No, Justice League was the end. Aquaman was the epilogue.
Yeah, but I mean, it was almost the end because they tied everything up in the Aquaman issue this week. So
yeah, but Aquaman has epilogue on the title. This is the actual end.
But I consider the epilogue the end.
Fine, whatever. Meh. Justice League 17 was really good. I enjoyed this. What do you think?
It was good. I really liked it. I think it was definitely more, to me, seemed like an Aquaman issue than a Justice League issue. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just it was very Aquaman heavy, which makes sense with a Atlantis storyline. But it was good. I thought it ended well.
You almost thought it was going to be a happy ending with him and his brother, and then it's a complete twist.
Yeah. And I thought they ended it quickly, but not too quickly. It didn't feel rushed. Yeah. It felt like it was completed a lot quicker than a lot of other books would have.
Yeah, it's just 5 issues. It was done, and that was perfect.
I felt like I got a full story without it dragging out too much. Because like some books, like I love Green Lantern stuff, but I love the Rot World stuff in Swamp Thing and Animal Man, but man, it just drags on for too long.
18 issues of Rot World.
That's
36
crazy.
total.
That's crazy.
18 each, yeah.
And this could have been...
This could have been 18 issues.
Yeah, this could have been that if they wanted to, but it turns out it wasn't, so that's pretty awesome. Anything else we want to talk about? Thor, #5 was really good. It just continues the God Butcher storyline. Gives you a little more background on Gore. I think his name's Gore. The God Butcher tells you what happens in the cave. Pretty good book. I liked it. This was great. I love the art. I like where this book's going. It just seems like it's taken forever to come out because so many other Marvel books come out so quickly.
Legend of Luthor Strode #3 came out this week. That was really, really good. That was pretty much a beat-em-up issue. You just find out the history on how Luthor Strode got his powers, on how long this power has been around and how it was mastered.
Do you want to go over the Green Lantern trilogy that came out last week real quick?
Nah.
It's the Rise of the...
Wrath of the First Guardian.
First
Pretty much Green Lantern 17 is an intro to this guy and how the Guardians came to be and how the universe was actually made and why they locked him up. Green Lantern Corps 17 has to do with Guy, and he's trying to change Guy's past, make Guy think he has a different past that was worse than what it is. And he tried in Green Lantern New Guardians to do that with Kyle, but Kyle kept fighting it. I guess because he's the chosen one is what it was indicating. He's like the chosen Lantern, so he kept fighting it. But at the end, it kind of seems like he succumbs to one of them. But it's good. I guess in April it's over, or May it's over. So
yeah, it's
got plenty of time to do it.
Jeff Johns' last issue.
Yeah, Green Lantern 19.
All right, I guess that's all the books we've gone through from last week or this week. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. There weren't that many books this week.
Yeah, it was a pretty short week, which, I'm
okay with.
Last week was 1 million books, and because of some errors, we couldn't have last week's episode. But we gave you the Joe Harris interview last week, and we're giving you the Chris Ryall episode this week. So lots of good stuff for you. Don't forget to check out investcomics.com. Check out their hot picks. We don't have this coming week's hot picks yet because we're recording this episode a little bit early. But last week's goes over, which goes hand in hand with the Guardians of the Galaxy .1 that came out this week. Hot picks goes over a lot of the first appearances and early appearances of Guardians of the Galaxy in general and all the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you're interested in any of those characters, go check out last week's hot picks. Go through it, and you can find ways to, or find the issues that they originally appeared in. And there's some stuff about Flash and Hawkman and some old characters they're bringing back into the New 52. Uncanny Avengers 4 it talks about. Lots of stuff in it. So go check out the hot picks. And don't forget, this Sunday, a new hot picks will be out on investcomics.com. Be sure that if you're in the Melbourne, Florida area, to go check out Famous Faces and Funnies in West Melbourne, Florida. And get your fun on Game Shop. They're in the same building. It's an awesome place. They have a game night every Thursday night where you can go play any game you can think of pretty much with about 100 other people. Lots of fun, free. Really any game you can think of. It goes on all night long from 6 p.m. till the wee hours of the morning. So go check that out.
They even do crazy... Some people might consider it fun stuff. We walked in last Thursday to game night, and they were organizing a Harlem Shake video.
It's on our Facebook page and YouTube. And it's not official yet, but we are going to do a flash race again.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You're partaking in this one.
I'll do it.
Oh, it's going to be great.
So be sure to check that out. Famous Faces has anything comic-oriented you could possibly think of. They also do HeroClix tournaments. If they don't have it, they could probably find it for you.
Yeah, we can try.
And get your fun on.
We're not finding you a Batman #1.
Well, obviously.
Detective 14.
I'm talking realistic stuff. And then Get Your Fun On is a great all-inclusive game store. They do tons of Magic stuff. They do all kinds of board games, card games, miniature games, anything you think of. Almost any game I've been thinking about, they've had or will find somebody to play it with you. Even if they don't have it in stock or can't get it anymore if it's out of print. There's somebody up there that plays it and they'll bust it out and you can play with them. So
yes. So thank you for listening. If you like our podcast, please go out, share it, spread the word, write an iTunes review, write a YouTube review, do something. Spread the word for us. Help us get out to more people. This is a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it. Hopefully you enjoy listening to it.
Yes. Check us out on Twitter. It's the Real BT4W. That's the number 4W. You can contact us at therealbt4w@gmail.com. And then we have a Facebook page also. It's facebook.com/therealbt4w. Check us out. Join the fan page. Like us. If you want to hear us review certain books, please give us suggestions. Anything you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it. We can not guarantee to like it, but we'll give you our opinion on it. And any suggestions for the podcast, things you like, things you don't like, whatever, we're willing to listen. So send us a tweet, send us an email, go to the Facebook page. We definitely want to hear from you guys.
And thank you again to Chris Ryall for partaking in this episode and answering questions and being a cool guy and giving us the time of day.
We very much appreciate it. All right, that's all for this week. And we will talk to you guys in about a week. For Breaking the Fourth Wall, I am Sean Cobble.
And I'm Sean Sorensen.
Bye.
Bye.